We'll
So
see.
I now
I'll
have-
stop you if you're mumbling.
So this is the first interview that
so
I
we can
have
try to
with a
get through this.
Hexican.
But
His name
tell
is
me,
Too Spooky
tell me
from the Twitters,
what you felt when you
and
first
let's
got
dive
into
on in and
Hex,
see
when
what
you
he's gotta
first
say.
discovered it. Take me back to that
Audio
moment.
levels are up.
All right, when I first found Hex, I was really just looking to swing trade crypto. Other than my Crypto.com stakes, I was like, maybe I can play around with a few bucks, buy low, sell high. And I was looking for good opportunities based on charts and whatnot. And I stumbled across Hex.
No audio coming through, mate.
Just as a relatively new coin. I found it back in December of 2020. So, I mean, it was about a year old then, but still it was only half a cent. So it looked like a good opportunity, no different than finding sheep when it was early or anything like that. What separated it from buying anything else, because I actually was buying stuff, was that everyone was calling it a scam. And, you know, if you've seen other, what they call shitcoins, a lot of people call it a scam or call it the greatest thing ever. But usually when people call something a scam, and you can look into it deep dive, because all the information for Hex is out there. When they were labeling it a scam and then spewing false information that didn't make any sense and it didn't add up, I kind of feel connected to things being blacklisted and lied about. You know, politics,
the journey begins
just
here.
real life.
I've got a couple of questions for you.
If someone's spreading rumors about something and it's not
I've
true
got about
and it's
3 or 4
verifiable,
other Hexicans
that's a good sign for that thing to be
just keeping it rolling.
or honest or have
appreciate
something
you
good behind it
taking
that
the
people
time
don't
on
want.
Twitter and what have you.
So that motivated me to buy it, was actually people calling it a scam while spreading false information.
Interesting, okay. If Hex is pretty
I'm in a
viral,
similar predicament,
what does viral look like?
All right.
So listen,
I have two real metrics.
basically I'm going to need.
There's a
I also, in order to use this footage for the documentary, I need you to just sort of go ahead and say that it's cool to use this footage for the film.
Media, popular YouTube channels or familiar faces. You have celebrities talking about
you pump out a lot of
Bitcoin
good
and
artwork
Ethereum
actually.
You
did an icon for me. I haven't used it because obviously I want to try to stay a little bit
or like a
neutral
national
in my
headline talking about Hex.
I appreciate you taking
I think
the
that's
time,
a good
mate.
thing, but what's different about Hex versus these other cryptos is that you have a lot of people who are in like Bitcoin and Ethereum, and they swear up and down everything else is a scam, everything else is gonna die. I feel like we're really viral when people who have shilled Bitcoin for like the last 5+ years come around. Because there's a huge community behind people.
Devin Hall.
I mean, a huge community in Bitcoin
on Twitter
and Ethereum
you are
where they stay away from these other coins. And once people like that with these huge,
Hex
huge
Polestar
followings
Child is your
start
tag.
painting
What does
Hex in a
that
better
that
light,
mean?
I think that's true virality.
Where is Hexico? Describe Hexico to me.
It's an interesting question. No one's ever asked anything like that. We've never had that type of conversation. I think Hexico is probably just if it were a place, it would just be like the freest place you could be. It's probably like just vacation every day. You don't have to worry about nothing. You know, everything's taken care of. Everyone's happy, and you know, you're actually trying to do something with your life to improve your loved ones and the world in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, no, I'm familiar with Pulse and what's happening. I'm following it quite closely.
They have, they're trying to fix problems someone else has.
I don't want to take too much of your time, so I'm just going to dive in. I got 10 questions or something here.
Is like a utopia almost.
Yeah, let's because it's not obviously it's not a geographic location, but more of a outlook on the world, if you like.
Right.
Okay, interesting. And if Hexico existed, what would its population be?
What do you mean? Like the number?
Okay, well, yeah, exactly. How many Hexicans are there? Like, I've been trying to get a definitive number there, but I can't quite get there.
If I remember correctly, because it's not a metric I follow that often, there's only like 60,000 stakers or something like that. I have no clue. I'm sure it's on Etherscan. I have no clue how many holders of Hex there are, but when it comes to stakers, the people who are really benefiting from the Hex system, I think there's only like 60,000 or something like that. So it's really, really not that many.
That's the defining. That's the definition. Then, when you stake, you become a Hexican. But if you're holding Hex, I mean, I've had a look on Etherscan. It's 250,000 wallets that hold Hex. So, but they're not all Hexicans. You have to stake to be a Hexican. Is that right?
In my personal opinion, I would think you'd have to be a staker, because that more so shows that, you know, you kind of trust the system and you're not just going to sell like on a double. Because a lot of people, you know, Richard Hart says that all the time, you can sell on a double, etc. I think a lot of people are holding on to Hex that don't stake just for, you know, price appreciation and hoping to sell at one point, but they're not really participating in the system. And that's like the whole point of Hex, to participate. Everyone together is in this system of wealth.
Yeah, I know. I've been following quite closely, because obviously you've got people that bail out, unstake, you know, and pay penalties, and that's frowned upon, or it appears to be anyway.
It depends. It depends on the reasoning and how much. I think some people are more against it than others, but I can rationalize people being in sticky situations. I've been in sticky situations before, and sometimes, you know, you pop something in way before I found it, say back in January or February of 2020, and you know, you got a bag that was only a couple $100 that's now probably getting closer to hundreds of thousands, if not millions. And even if you unstake, you're still up, you know, 10,000x with that one bag with a 50% penalty. So it's like I can understand why people would emergency unstake. I'm going to do the best I can throughout the next 15 years to not in-stake anything early, but I can see, you know, hey, I popped in $500, it's now $500,000. I might want to take it, you know.
Yeah, right. Okay. What is a Hexican Pulsar OG?
That is something that it seems to be very debated on what's considered an OG, and I guess as time goes on, the time frame of what makes you an OG will expand. I don't consider myself an OG, despite getting in at under a cent. I got in at half a cent, but there's people who were there, you know, before the big payday, which I don't remember the date for that. Like, that was before me, but I feel like if you were in before the big payday, that makes you an OG. You know, but probably one day anyone who's in under $1 would also be considered an OG. But me personally, it's big payday.
Why do so many people call Hex a scam? Like, what's the detail that they're missing that they impulsively, you know, write it off as a scam? I've had an absolute headache trying to get, you know, there's a lot of people that'll say, fuck it, it's a scam, I'm not going to talk, I'm not even going to give it any oxygen. And I'm like, well, I need you to talk to me. No one wants to talk to me about it. They just immediately dismiss it. And I wonder, what's that one detail that they just are, you know, deciding that...
I think, in my experience, because before my TikTok got deleted, I was arguing with some of the bigger influences on there about Hex that are, you know, into crypto. And what I've noticed is that it's somewhat hard to understand how Hex works with the T-share system. And even I don't understand everything. Like, I think I understand a really good portion of it, but I can't do the math. I'm not a mathematician. But not only does it seem to be like an IQ test, which already scares people to some degree, like, you know, new information and big numbers scare people. But then when it's coupled with this insane price appreciation that people think was only possible once, apparently, with Bitcoin, or maybe only Ethereum, like nothing else. They think nothing else can do that. Anyone else who's promised that has been a scam, or, you know, it's been a pump and dump, or manipulated, or just failed in some way, shape, or form. So there's this really negative history of what people call promise coins and other shit coins, where they say this same thing Hex does with price appreciation. Oh, this coin will make you a millionaire. So they don't believe it when they hear it, and then when they look at it, they don't understand it. It really scares them. And I think it's easier to believe that Hex is a scam than it is to understand how the T-share system works. And that's really it. Especially now, there's something else too. I don't want to make this too long. There's another aspect. If you're invested in a lot of other things and people pay you to get advice on how to trade, a coin that is specifically designed to stop trading pretty much works against your entire business model. So I think that's another aspect as well. A lot of people profit off of people, which is like 90% of people lose money trading. I think a lot of people profit off of traders losing money, and Hex is designed to stop that. So there's a large market that doesn't want Hex to be legit, even though it is.
How does that feel though to be branded the scammer community? You know, like you guys, Richard, Hex, you know, arguably is the most despised community or project in the whole industry, a whole space, right? Like, how does, you know, how do you brush that off? How do you continue on? Like,
I can speak from personal experience. I know other people feel differently because I've had conversation about it. Because sometimes I'll post memes that are just completely false. They're just lies. I'll post a fake quote from Vitalik of Ethereum. I do it as a joke because I'm already, for me personally, like I said, I jumped into Hex because of misinformation. And because it's an IQ test, I feel like if we can have any information out there where it's going to make people ask questions, the people who ask questions, deep dive and learn the truth, they will be rewarded. But I don't know how familiar you are with politics and stuff like that, but I was a big Trump supporter. I was going to like a lot of the more negatively labeled right-wing events. I'm not going to name any names, but I was pretty active on what I know is the right side of history, despite the mainstream media labeling it the wrong side of history. So, like I said before, when people are lying about things, I know it's the right path. When there's honesty on one side of the table and there's lies on the other, I know which way to go. So that's what really separates Hex for me, and why I kind of embrace the hostility, because it gets the conversation going. And once the conversation's going, people who are willing to look at the truth with open ears listen. And then they reward themselves with truth, and in Hex with financial freedom.
yeah, okay. And you know, I seen a few videos from Richard. He likes to destroy his opponents, you know, invite them onto his live streams. How do you, how do you think he feels about, you know, being the, you know, the head, the leader of such a community that gets so much negative attention, if you like?
I think it comes from a similar train of thought, because he knows he's right and he knows he's doing something good. He's benefiting the world. I mean, he raised millions of dollars for the Sen Foundation just with the sacrifice phase. I never even heard of Sens until Richard Hart. You know what I mean? So he's doing good things, and he knows he's doing good things, and he's very unapologetic, and no one can tell him he's wrong. They can tell him they don't like him, so what? But no one can tell him he's wrong. So again, when you have that strong divide where, you know, it's polarizing, when you have that strong divide where people who are just lying and saying nonsense, and you have other people who are deep diving and actually understanding Richard Hart, I think it's very validating. It's very validating, and it's also motivating. With that being said.
Okay. All right, a few more questions. What is a god whale in Hex?
From what I heard, I just learned about the god whale recently in Hex, and this dude is just, he has so much Hex, he can if he wants start a bull run or end it, and apparently that's what's been happening. But a god whale essentially is just, have you seen the tiers for Staker? Like there's the shrimp, there's the crab, there's turtles, squids, dolphins, sharks.
I haven't looked at it in detail, no.
All right, so based on the amount of T-shares you have, they separate you into this pool, right? Yeah. And underneath the Poseidon, who would own 10% of all T-shares, I believe the whale is right underneath that, and they own less than 10%, but more than 1% of T-shares, which is a significant amount. But apparently this god whale, essentially, he's like the whale of whales.
So he's just a complete beast financially speaking. I don't know who he is. I don't know what else he holds. I know his wallet addresses are out there if you can ask around for him, but he's done some amazing things in Hex.
Okay. I've seen a Richard Hart feet meme. Talk to me about what the heck is that all about?
I think just like how the internet works in memes, it's sometimes you find something funny no one else is looking at. You can just kind of start a joke over something just because it's stupid. I have no clue where that came from, but it cracks me up. It's very funny. It's my type of humor. I don't think it doesn't mean anything. It's just funny.
Yeah, no, I mean there's a website and everything. It's it's hilarious. Furus is something that's been talked about a lot on Twitter lately, the last week or so. Furus, what are they?
Well, going back into like the influencers I told you about on TikTok, they act like they're the wisest of the wise and they know what they're doing and you should take their advice. And even though, like, you know, if you go into their comment section and you start the conversation, a lot of people will come forward and be like, oh, I bought this coin this dude told me to buy and I lost money. So they promote themselves online to be gurus, but they spread fear about Hex. And it's kind of sad is because they'll promote pump and dumps and then they'll trash talk Hex. So we end up calling them furus is because they pretend to be gurus, but they're lying about, you know, probably the best asset on the planet to invest in. You know, I can't see anything else being better than it, maybe than Pulse Chain, but like Hex has been phenomenal and they lie about it and they tell people to buy other coins and they just get destroyed. So that's a furu is a fear spreading fake guru.
Right, okay. Talk to me about governance in Hex. You know, a lot of these projects they talk about tokenomics governance. Is there a governance aspect or element to Hex?
Now, when it comes to like blockchain technology and all that stuff, that is way above me. I jumped into crypto pretty much just as an investor. I'm not one of those, this technology will change the world. I jumped into crypto from stocks. So that is above me. I know it has something to do with decision making based on the amount of coin you're holding in the network, something like that. But I can't comment on that really.
Okay, no drama. Can you talk on delayed gratification?
Delayed gratification, very, very interesting. Is there something specific you want, or just want me to my views on it?
I mean, in relation to Hex, if you can. So.
Well, yeah, it's pretty simple. So just about with any asset, any successful asset that you buy, you know, you probably make more money just holding it, buying early and holding it, than trying to trade it. And even Richard Hart, you know, he said he did the same thing before, where you know people would sell coins, or he was mining Bitcoin, for an example, and you pretty much have to sell it in order to be profitable for the most part. And I've had a lot of stocks. I had even last year, like I said, I came from stocks to get into crypto. There were times where, matter of fact, that just reminded me, I bought Doge before the spike. I bought Doge when it was dirt cheap, and I had to sell it. I had an emergency situation, but I had to sell it, and then it made its bull run up to like 70 cents or whatever it was. I could have had $3,000 turn into 300,000, I think it was, back when I did the math. I think it was 300,000. So I missed out on 300,000 because I sold it just because I had doubled. I went from forgot what I put into it, but I remember roughly I had about a 2x in Doge, and because it was profitable and I needed the money, I sold it, and then you know a couple of months later it makes that huge run up. So I've personally missed out on a pretty big chunk of penny because I sold it when I wanted to. So I really do appreciate Hex preventing people from making that same mistake, which, like I said, is designed to do. but especially in crypto stocks, any asset, if you want to go into an ETF, S&P 500, it's makes so much more sense just to hold on to an appreciating asset for the long run versus trading, which, like I said, becomes addictive and most people lose money trading. So delayed gratification, just like compound interest, because that's how you get it. Compound interest is delayed gratification. It's the eighth wonder of the world.
Yeah, no, I've heard that a few times. Okay, who else should I talk with?
Well, you said I'm the first, right? I don't.
Just give me a couple off the top of your head, because I've obviously, like I say, I got a few next week. I got 3 or 4 next week. I got a marketing guy. I got a legal guy. I got a couple more Hexicans like yourself. So I'm trying to get the entire spectrum.
The first people I found in Hex that I tend to listen to the most are Gerardo. He's a big mathematician, Hex guy. I listen to him a lot, just because he has so many price charts, and the dude is great. And Hodl Dog, he's really good on YouTube too. I think they're the first people I found on, well, just anywhere to talk about Hex. And I know they've been in for a long time, so they also know a lot more about how the system itself works than I would, and they probably have a lot more knowledge with just the community and everything that's happened, because I know they've been there for a while before me. And Richard Hart was talking about Hex obviously before it even launched, so they would probably be even more informative with the community as well as how Hex operates.
Okay, great. And one more question. Which other projects should I look into if I was going to look into, obviously my bag is to go and look at projects and figure out if they're actually a scam or not. Is there any at the top of your mind that I should look into or have my partners look into, in your opinion?
Is specifically in relation to scams?
Precisely.
Or just, since I got into Hex, which I actually came from crypto.com. After I got into Hex, I pretty much stopped deep diving into other projects. I know even if a coin does get a nice spike here and there, it's not a better project than Hex. Nothing's going to be better than Pulse Chain for replacing Ethereum, from what I can see. So I don't really deep dive into the rest of the crypto world anymore, because it just seems unnecessary. I can tell you that there are a few clones. Well, I don't even want to call them clones, they're like retarded. But there's a few failed attempts of Hex that you might want to deep dive into that are just absolutely horrible, and people are wrecked, but they swear up and down they're Hex but better. So I can give you the names. One is Rex, which is absolutely hilarious. There was Axion or Axiom, Axion or M, can't remember, but Axion or something like that. And then there was Wise. Those were all attempts to be better than Hex, and so far they have just been horrible. So you might want to look into those, because those seem to be pump and dumps based on Hex hype.
Okay, thanks a lot. Well, that concludes the interview, mate. Like, is there anything else you would like me to ask you to add some additional material, or are you good?
Maybe for anyone who is watching this and they haven't quite learned what Hex is yet, because I don't know, when are you going to do this? Like more than a year out, if I understand correctly. So it's gonna be a while before this is like a finished project for this documentary, right? So anyone who is watching this and they have yet to really deep dive into Hex, I tell them take a little bit of pocket change and just give it a shot. That's what I did. My first stake was pretty small. I staked it for a long term, staked it for a full term, 5,555 days. And because I wasn't sure, people were lying about it, but it seemed nice. But you never actually know. So I considered a couple of bucks, maybe I won't get it back. Maybe it does go to zero. And I'm very happy I was wrong. And anyone I onboard onto Hex, they go through the same thing. Try it out, do one stake, max term, watch it for a while. If you don't like it, don't buy anymore. Worst case scenario, you lost a couple of bucks. But usually what happens is people start liking it and they start trusting it, and then they start deep diving more, and then they start, pretty much it's going all in, which is what I did. I wanted to diversify. I ended up going all in, completely flipped.
And that's with a 15-year stake.
I currently have, I think, 8 or 9 15-year stakes. Altogether, I think I'm in the 60s because I have a staking ladder.
Okay. And what happens? So let's fast forward for a moment, and what do you picture at that unstaking moment?
Okay, so when I first got into Hex, like I didn't even really find Richard Hart when I first found Hex. Like I said, I saw a couple of YouTubers and this and that. I wasn't like watching Richard Hart's live stream, so I'm just looking at the price chart. I hear what a couple of people are saying here and there, like Hodl Dog. Like I said, I think I was watching mostly his videos back then. I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe after 10, 15 years, maybe the coin hits 50 cents, maybe $1. That would be cool. And it was like, we already touched 50 cents like a month ago. And now we're looking at insane prices. So I'm actually scared, and I don't know what to do with the price projections. If we hit double digits, I'm terrified. My entire life plan has flipped upside down, and I feel like I'm starting fresh. I have to learn how to live life now. I think by 2023, if you go to stakehex.today, it's a new site apparently. If you go to stakehex.today and you type in, you can do a test stake. You can see your price, your stakes with price appreciation, projected price appreciation, and it's just terrifying numbers. So I have to learn how to live like a person I didn't know I was going to be. So it's very interesting and scary, but it's completely foreign.
Yeah. Okay. Devin, mate, much appreciated.
You too. Thank you for the opportunity.
Right on, and I'll catch you on the Twitters.
Oh, definitely. I'll be there every day, unfortunately.
Yeah, same here. It's become a burden, actually. It's a real productivity zap, as you can imagine. But it's good fun. 99% of the Hexicans that I've spoken with have been really nice. So.
And keep me posted your stake. I love when people do test stakes and they just watch it over time. It looks like it's doing good so far. You're seeing the compound interest add up every day. 365 days of interest with price appreciation looks real nice after a while.
Yeah, no, I've got a keen eye on it, mate, and even more with the pulse chain. Because as I understand it, there'll be a copy of that on there as well. So
yeah, complete duplicate. So whatever you're holding right now is just double, 100%, just double it.
Yeah.
Were you there? Were you able to sacrifice for Pulse?
I wasn't there that early, mate. No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the Pulse chain is going to be an interesting ride as well.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot of big words being thrown about, so I'll be curious to see if they can pull it off successfully. But that's actually another shortage, is getting a hold of developers. People actually working on it. Those guys are not so easy to convince to come and speak. They're often quite private, shy people, developers. So, but if you hear of anybody, or if you got any ideas in the near future, let me know.
It's good to me. Gotcha.
All right, buddy.
All right, you take care.
Yeah, have a great day. All right.
You too.
Cheers, mate.